Welcome to the show. I'm James.
I'm David.
I'm Riley.
And today we are discussing Belle. That's it.
Belle.
We'll laugh, we'll argue. We might get a little too into it, but at the end of the day, they're just anime movies.
That was so anime.
That's what I was going for.
Nice one.
I'm not good at-
Yeah, this is not Belle. Wait, is there another Belle? Is there another? No.
I don't know.
Disney's version is just the Beauty and the Beast they did with like Emma Watson or whatever, the live action.
With a the? No.
Booty.
The booty?
Booty and the Beast.
And
That's gotta be something.
next week, though, that's a thing for sure. Next week, Aliens.
Ooh.
The sequel, the James Cameron sequel to Alien. It's Aliens. The first time when we did the first one, all those years ago, it was actually Sarah's first episode.
Wow.
Did we do Alien?
Yeah.
We did Alien.
Oh, did I miss that week?
Yeah,
I might
you
have
were-
missed that week.
Oh, maybe we had Sarah, but not Riley. But anyway, next week we're gonna have Sarah.
Yay.
Oh,
and
man.
probably also Riley.
Do I have to watch the first one now?
No. Nah, maybe.
We'll
They're-
see.
It's a good movie.
They're good. You should watch them anyway.
Yeah, but like, I have a child.
Well, you got a week. So, all right. Today we're gonna do Belle. It's Belle, guys. David, what are you giving this movie out of 10?
Belle paints with breathtaking macro strokes, but some pretty clumsy details. My eyes and ears feasted while the emotional beats filled my heart, but my brain was never really allowed to stop going, that's kind of fucking stupid. 7.8 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
It does a lot of good stuff, I feel, but it does the anime thing of kind of you have to suspend your disbelief a little too much,
That's true.
but it's fine.
I honestly didn't really think about that and didn't value that until you just said it just now. And I was like, there is a bunch of questions I have, but
But
let me tell you my slogan.
Let's hear it.
If liking anime makes you a nerd, then buy me 100 tickets to board the Weeb train because I love this movie. An interesting twist on a classic myth that made me laugh and cry out loud multiple times. I'm giving it 8.25 out of 10.
hell yeah,
I love this
let's
movie.
go.
I was bawling for like the last quarter of it.
Yeah.
Like my sister.
Yeah,
She
sure.
cried 5 times.
Really?
Yeah.
You counted?
She told me.
You're like, that's the 5th one.
She was like breathing loudly and stuff. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, no, I love this movie. I mean, like you say, I think there are definitely some things that we're gonna bring up and that I'm gonna be like, but how did they?
But when it does those emotional beats, they
Oh.
land hard for me.
Oh, and the music?
yeah, music was actually sick.
Okay, but James has to tell us. What do you think?
Well, David dropped some hints last week that he didn't really like it very much.
Oh,
Apparently he lied to me. I feel catfished. This, okay.
just like the characters in this movie.
Sucks. This always happens to me. I spend my whole life being like, one day I'm gonna get into anime. I think I'm gonna love it. It really seems like it'll be up my alley.
And then it's David's fault.
Then I watch an anime movie, and this has happened to us many times with Your Name and Spirited Away. I watch the anime movie and I'm like, I hate this part of myself, but I don't like this movie. I wish I liked it, but I don't. And then I watched this movie. David tipped me off that it was bad. I watched it.
That was bad.
I hated this movie.
No.
I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave, man. I was so bored in the middle. It got better near the end, but in the middle, I was literally like, I could be watching Handmaid's Tale right now. Dude, have you seen Handmaid's Tale?
You could be watching Handmaid's Tale.
Have you seen that
You would
shit?
rather be watching Handmaid's Tale? Yes, I'm up to date on Handmaid's Tale.
I'm way years late to the party. I'm watching it right now. I'm like, I love that show. I'm sitting in this.
What?
I was just like, anyway, here's my slogan. Belle is a barely recognizable rendition of Beauty and the Beast, which isn't a demerit, that barely uses anything cool about virtual reality and is so boring that only surprise child abuse could save it.
What?
Yeah, this would be like a 3 if it didn't actually get watchable near the end there. 4.9.
Damn.
Damn, I wasn't ready for this.
I didn't know. I thought we were all going to be hating on it today.
I don't want to like fight about it.
I'm not
James.
going to fight you. I'm going to sit back because I don't want to have the comments filled with people who like anime yelling at me like every other time.
Okay, wait,
so
wait,
I'm just going to let you guys love it, and I'll sit in the
I have
back.
to establish up front. We've done some animes, and generally I've been a fan of the ones that we do. But I think that's because we have selected for like the really good anime. We haven't done a ton. I think we've done like 3 or 4,
3.
and generally I don't like anime. Okay, I'm not like going out there looking for animes. I don't like anime as a genre generally, but like we pick the good ones. And when anime is really good, it's really good. And so like that's how I feel.
Hey,
so I can understand your like disdain and your general hesitation to like, you know.
Is Arcane anime? Or is that just anime?
No, it's
No,
Western
that's just
studio,
yeah,
yeah.
that's just Western.
Okay.
There's like Western anime now.
Stop
that's like a
asking
new
us to
genre.
cover it. Stop it.
Yeah, I did watch the series and I did enjoy it, but yeah, we're probably not going to cover it. It's too late now.
It's too late.
Okay.
Apologize.
League of Legends, it's just toxic.
No, we can do season 2 of Dota, buddy. Let's go.
And we'll talk way more about it after this message from our sponsor, Storyblocks. Ever needed a quick, clip for a video but didn't have the capacity to make it yourself? Storyblocks helps you bring your stories to life without sacrifice due to time, budget, or resource. There's over 1 million royalty-free assets for you to choose from, including 4K HD footage, Adobe templates, music, images, and a wide array of diverse and inclusive content. David, you're just making all these reaction faces as I read
I'm listening. I'm engaged.
There are subscriptions for every budget, so you can choose the plan that works for you. From their unlimited all-access plan that gives you unlimited video and audio downloads to enterprise licensing for your entire company. And everybody has access to the assets you need when you need them. So we actually use Storyblocks here at Linus Tech Tips, as we don't always have time to go out and get that perfect B-roll footage. We usually do, but sometimes no. And it's a good resource to have.
Bees,
so check.
Bees aren't going to pose for you.
That's true. Also, it rains here all the time. So take your videos to the next level by checking out Storyblocks today at storyblocks.com/carpool. For some reason.
I hung on your every word. That story was so good.
Thank you. Thanks to Secret Lab for sponsoring today's episode. Secret Lab chairs are engineered to keep you comfortable for long hours at work and play. Their Titan Evo 2022 series chair offers 4-way lumbar support, comes with a magnetic memory foam head pillow, and is offered in different upholsteries like hybrid leatherette, soft weave fabric, and Napa leather. Lumbar support. That's the part of the back that gets the most love, hey?
Yeah, lumbar.
Everyone's always talking about the lumbar. With up to 5-year extended warranty and 49-day return policy, you're covered if anything goes wrong. So learn more about Secret Lab at lmg.gg/secretlabtjm. See, that's our actual name. TJM.
TJM.
I thought you were going to do the DK rap again.
TJ.
We're going to have to put a counter in the corner of how many times Riley does
TJM.
the DK rap.
Hit us up with the synopsis. What happened in this movie for everyone in the world who didn't watch this movie?
All right.
There's no way people are seeing this movie, are they?
I think they are.
Oh, God.
I told
I think
everyone to
anime
see it.
people are, yeah.
I tweeted that people should see it, so now they're going to see it.
Good luck, you guys.
No, these guys, the studio that makes this, they're a well-known anime studio. I mean, like it did a festival run, and now it's getting a wider release. So,
Bless.
calm down,
God
James.
bless them.
When Suzu Naito was young, her mother supported Suzu's love for singing and writing songs. But when Mummy sacrificed her life to save a different child, a traumatized and confused Suzu became unable to sing. Now a 17-year-old high school student, Suzu feels distanced from her father and her classmates, including childhood friend Shinobu, popular girl Ruka, and sportsman Kamishin. But Suzu's genius best friend Hiro suggests Suzu join the virtual world called You, where she discovers she can sing again through her beautiful avatar, whom she names Belle, like Ding Dong Belle. You guys got that? Yeah, you get that?
B-E-L-L?
Belle goes viral, and people start calling her Belle with an E. When a monstrous avatar called the Dragon, chased by the self-righteous Justin and his vigilantes, interrupts one of Belle's concerts, Suzu is intrigued and begins gathering information about him. She is eventually led by an angel AI avatar to the Dragon's castle. They have a rocky start, but eventually the two grow closer. Meanwhile, in the real world, Ruka confides to Suzu that she has a crush, who Suzu worries is Shinobu, but it's actually Kamishin. And with Suzu's help, the two admit their feelings for each other. Back in You, Justin destroys the dragon's castle and interrogates Belle, threatening to unveil her identity if she doesn't cooperate. But she's saved once more by the dragon and his AI fairy things. We're going to get into that. What are those about? Suzu and Hiro race to find the dragon's real identity before Justin can, and eventually discover his name is Kei, a 14-year-old boy forced to protect his younger brother Tomo from their abusive father. Kei does not believe Suzu is Belle, so to earn his trust, Shinobu urges Suzu to sing as herself in You. She does, gaining support from a massive crowd of onlookers. Kei decides to trust Suzu, but before he can tell her his address, his father cuts off their internet connection. Suzu's friends triangulate the boy's location, and Suzu rushes there herself, where she protects the boys from their father, who ends up cowering and fleeing from her. Suzu, Kei, and Tomo embrace before she returns home, met by her proud father, her mother's singing group, and her friends. Shinobu praises Suzu for her bravery and says she doesn't need him to be her guardian in place of her mother anymore. Finally understanding her mother's actions, Suzu comes to terms with her mother's death and sings with her friends. Oh, crying, tears coming down my face. And it's funny because like I go into these animes not expecting this to happen.
Yeah.
But because I have like a base level of disdain, I think, because I'm like, this is some weeb otaku shit. Like You're
like the opposite of me.
You can't trick me with this. And then like the music is so good, and the performances are so good, and like there are good like dramatic and emotional twists and like character motivations that I find compelling. And
Who watched subs? Who watched dubs?
so
I think we all watch subs.
I watched subs.
I actually tried to do dubs.
Really?
I'm generally a subs, not dubs person.
Oh,
but
you try generally to do it.
I want to see the original audio with subtitles in English. That's what I want.
Oh, okay.
Okay, is that clear enough?
Sorry, I thought you said you generally try to do dubs.
No, I did not say that.
So
Okay.
Okay, Riley. But this time I was seeing it with my little sister. She didn't want to read the whole time. So I tried to buy tickets for dubs. I thought I double checked, but I'm so bad at braining that we got in there and it was in Japanese.
Oh, no.
And actually the reason that I was not averse to doing the dubs this time is because I saw in the YouTube comments of the trailer, everybody was like, wow, the dubs actually look good. The singer they got is amazing.
Honestly, like I asked you guys before I went to see this, because you guys saw it before I did, and I asked you guys if you saw the subs or dubs, and you said you saw the subs, and I was like, oh, I should probably try and see the dubs if I can. But I was like, dubs are usually not so good. I want the authentic version, so like I just went and saw the subs. But yeah, afterwards I saw those comments and I listened to it, and I'm like, the voice acting in English seemed to be way better than normal dubs are.
I kind of regret it. I kind of wish I saw the dub version.
And the singing too.
Yeah,
That's
because
cool.
when you're just watching the lyrics of a song,
It's
especially
different.
when they're translated, it's like the song is not moving me.
Right.
Well,
but like I found the performance was moving, even though like if I look up from the text, I don't know what she's saying, but like the performance of the singing I found to be very, very good. But then, I was honestly so disappointed because like I probably will go back and like watch the dub at some point, but just from what I've seen, I watched a few of the like music videos of the English version and stuff, and like watched the trailer, and yeah, it does seem like the singer that they got, I think her name's Kylie McNeil, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, she's so good. Like both the Japanese and English versions of the song and the dialogue were so good.
Well, I want to talk a bit about the music because to me it did land, even though I had to read it. I think it could have landed more with the English, but at the emotional moments, like the concert when she's trying to reach the beast, that really landed emotionally for me. And like she starts crying and it becomes like the orb, and like the visuals match the audio so well, even though I don't know what the words are. Like just the feeling of it was working really well. Like I don't know, I found the music just excellent.
were you enhanced?
No,
Can I
I
ask you
wasn't.
that?
I was not.
Okay.
Can I ask you?
Yeah, I think like I was worried the first song was the one song I didn't like. I was worried, this could go
really?
this could go either way. I'm like, this is kind of funky, but it's like I'm still not sure.
Oh man.
But then they got me. Even like the Beauty and the Beast song where it's like they dance in the ballroom and stuff and then they float away. Like I was like, I felt everything after that.
I feel like that was the Beauty and the Beast scene of the whole movie, and the rest wasn't too Beauty and the Beast.
I feel like
what do you guys think?
About half an hour in, it lands pretty squarely in the Beauty and the Beast lane, and then it sort of deviates again. But the middle of the movie is like almost a straight rendition.
When they have that like whole ballroom dance thing, I was like, I wrote down like, this is like a literal analog of the Beauty and the Beast like Disney song ballroom dance. The whole vibe is the same. But
There's little critters around.
yeah, like the AI things are like the household objects that come alive or whatever. Sort of.
Are those all AI things?
I'm confused about
That's what
this.
I thought. The Angel is the brother.
I screwed that up in the synopsis then. I said it was an angel AI avatar.
I'm pretty sure that Angel is the brother. That's why he was able to beat him in the battle. Because Angel was one of the 3 people that had beaten Dragon in the fights.
Oh, right.
Okay.
So I think that's wise because he has emotional power over him.
I think
right,
they
my
probably
apologies.
are, because here's
The other
thing.
ones are all
'Cause here's the
AIs.
thing.
The other AI,
Unlike VR, I was sold on this movie as it being like a VR kind of movie. And I was like, hey, this is going to be interesting.
Not really.
But they used a rule in this movie that kind of undoes all the VR-ness, which is you don't choose your avatar. It's your like essential essence is who you are.
Right.
Which is really cool if you're a beautiful, great singer. But then there's a bunch of people who are like,
babies.
I'm a anthropomorphic mushroom. I'm like
Wait.
I'm a sack of potatoes.
No, I
Like,
don't think. I think you can modify your avatar. It's not like you log in and then the system just gives you an avatar and you can't change it.
I think there's
I
some
don't think
things you can't
really,
change.
I don't think you can really change it afterwards. But she had like I thought it implied that she had the ability to like change her avatar before, but then you lock it in and now it's like, okay, this is your avatar and you can't really change it much afterwards.
So the person who's like a potato, and then with legs, and the legs are like fingers on a hand.
Yeah, they wanted to do that.
Okay.
Because that would suck if you like logged in and it's like, this is you. It's like, I'm a finger potato thing.
Maybe that's what they really want, though. I mean, that is their inner
it could
desires.
be. I'm pretty sure.
Public.
I felt like it was implied that you could choose your avatar at the outset and then afterwards you can't really change it.
Yeah. Well, let's stick on the positive.
I didn't get that.
Let's stick on the positive for now of the metaverse. I think the art style they chose for the inside world, the metaverse, works pretty well. I think it's cool that they did a mixed medium thing. Like the outside world is more traditional hand-drawn anime, and inside it's that 3D look at a lower frame rate, but it's smoother, kind of more polished. And I liked most of the inside stuff. I think some of the abstractions they do are a little too low budget looking.
When you say inside stuff, you mean like
the metaverse?
in you?
Sorry, yeah, in you. But overall, I think the style is splendid.
Yeah, I love
pleasant.
the mixed between like 2D and 3D. Although like some of the cutaways to like the background metaverse characters, they are 2D and they're like animated to sort of look 3D, but you can after a while you can tell that they're 2D, and that kind of like messed me up a little bit.
Sure.
They did that on some of the main scenes as well. My favorite scenes of this movie is the gag they do when people it's just like freeze frame.
Oh, I
like,
love that.
Does that mean you have a crush on me? And she's like, and then she just freezes. That was hilarious.
It was so funny both times.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
But
Both of those Kamishin scenes,
Yeah,
I'm just like,
so
I'm
funny.
in the theater, like there's one other person down at the front, like cackling, and me, like we're just like,
I love that so much. That was hilarious,
It was actually hilarious.
but poorly drawn.
what?
It was like that was 2D AF.
But that was supposed
It's
to be 2D.
supposed to be 2D.
In the real world, is 2D.
What do you?
The real world is
Okay,
2D.
well maybe that's not what I mean by 2D. I mean like, I don't know.
Like moving on like one plane, like it's not.
It's very okay,
Anime, I
We're
feel like-
focusing on the good stuff here, but that was like pretty. Well, okay, the
think
other
what
movies
you're-
I've seen are Spirited Away and
Yeah.
Your Name, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful movies. They have like amazing sky scenes, for example, and awesome landscapes. I would say the only thing in this movie that I thought was like that's beautiful is his castle, and the rest of the movie was like meh.
Interesting.
Oh, really?
I
To
kind of
me, yeah.
I didn't feel that way. I think it's not the most beautiful anime movie I've seen. I agree. The castle is stunning, especially like how she has to enter, go through the kind of like the different dimensions of weird colors and abstraction.
Yeah.
And then she arrives at the castle and it's so majestic. But what I found is I really liked the real world style, and I think there was like a really powerful effect, and I feel like it's on purpose, where the metaverse is so colorful and crazy. But I actually found the real world more beautiful because it's got that hand-drawn style, like the texture of the paints.
Yeah.
And so all these mundane things, they show these flashes of like people like playing baseball, like a guy like playing, like practicing his drums on a little pad, and like it's real world, but it's painterly. And I found those breaths so beautiful, and I was really drawn in by that style.
Yeah, all that stuff was definitely. I love that as well, and it made everything seem more real. I love when like she's like looking down. We're being introduced to her classmates, and she's looking down at the courtyard or whatever. And Kamishin is like trying to get people to join the canoe club.
Oh yeah,
and like just the way that like, he like stumbles into people, and then everyone just kind of like disperses. Like the animation just seemed really real. Like it didn't seem like copy pasted people in the background or whatever.
Same with the girl who is playing the saxophone and is like the popular girl. The way they're dancing,
Reiku or something?
Ruka.
Ruka. The way they dance is just like so.
The little leg shooting out.
I loved it.
Yeah. See, I feel like James, what you're drawing attention to in those comedic bits is like the fact that I think anime, especially when it gets comedic, it often sacrifices fidelity for comedy. So like in that moment, they look more like cartoons because it's a funny scene.
Yeah,
and so-
maybe.
yeah. I think
That's
that's
fine.
and we're also farther away from them. We're not getting like a close up of their face. It's just like it's all like on one plane, like you're saying. It's like a sitcom style for a second.
sure.
Yeah.
I think
matter.
there's the moments that felt.
It does matter.
No, I mean it doesn't matter to me. It wasn't like this scene would be funnier if it looked better. Like it,
Right.
but it just kind of did stand out to me. That it was like, oh, it looks kind of whack. Like like I guess you're saying, yeah,
You're just
they're
not weeb enough.
more cartoonish. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they.
That is on purpose.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
They're just like, hey, this scene's uglier than most. That's weird.
Oh, like the
They just
freezing.
like forgot to make him look
Not
good.
the freezing aspect
Okay.
of it. Just like I distinctly remember like the shape of his mouth. Like
Oh
his,
yeah,
his mouth
so
is.
they're more sketchy in those
Yeah.
scenes, and I think that's the point. Is that it's like they're unsure of themselves, so the drawing style is more
Yeah.
unsure of itself. So I think it is like tied to the theme. It's not like they just ran out of budget and couldn't like ink properly. But
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like for me, where I see the budget run out is in the big metaverse shots, like one of the big opening sweeping shot where it's like kind of the Futurama setting, where it's like you see the buildings in the background and a bunch of like cross
Oh yeah,
highways and
those
stuff.
shots are
Yeah,
cool.
They're cool, but then there's like little dots, and they're supposed to signify like things in the distance moving. But I found it felt really cheap. It felt like almost like a TV show that like didn't have the budget to fully animate a world. And I found there's a couple times where they're trying to give the impression of a much bigger space than I think they could animate, and it just felt really cheap to
See,
me.
I feel like I see that, and I agree. I think that it does end up feeling a little cheap in the metaverse in you, but I think that is again something that like I mean, we can say that whether that's like a weakness of of anime like as a genre or not, but I feel like again that's sort of like a stylistic choice that a lot of animes make, where they, especially when it comes to something virtual like that, they're just kind of like, you get it. Like they're like, okay, it's a great crazy 3D universe and there's buildings over there, but like the buildings look like copy paste assets when you're like building a game, like from the game engine, you just like slap something in there, and that's what it looks like.
That's fair.
Because they're like, if this was hand drawn, it would just kind of be in the background and you wouldn't really pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So, but then in 3D, it's like things are sharper and you can kind of see it a little bit better.
And I'm guessing this isn't something that's made by like 1,500 people like a Disney movie is now.
Yeah.
And there's like 20 people that their entire job is just background characters.
And obviously,
I was hoping for that personally.
Yeah.
From like some of the imagery from the trailers, like the imagery of her avatar and like the colors around her and extravagant outfits and stuff. I was like, oh, cool. This is going to be like full on, like beautiful art in a VR, and it's going to be psychedelic and like super sick.
It didn't give me psychedelic, which was unfortunate.
I feel like the concerts, particularly the first one, like with the whale, not the first official concert we see with like the whales with the speakers on their backs.
That
and
was
stuff.
cool, actually.
And then like the last one where it's like the whale like bursts through the crowd of people and there's like flowers going everywhere and stuff. It's like that was pretty like trippy.
So it was. I feel like it was almost there, but I feel like again it's just the budget where like the particle systems they made for the flowers, like they just didn't have the budget to render like 15 million flowers. They had the budget to render like 10,000 flowers. So there was moments where I wanted like this crazy psychedelic like transition from the metaverse into all flowers into something like just like really probably expensive rendering things that they just couldn't quite achieve.
Yeah, I feel like if it was a live action or like 3D CGI fully done movie, you know, like a Western movie or whatever, we'd expect to see like way more detail in the backgrounds and in the animation and stuff like that. Like for some reason I'm thinking of Alita Battle Angel, where it's like this is a fully so much 3D CGI stuff, and like you pause any frame and you look in the background, you see like a background character like that you feel like you could zoom in on and it would make sense and it would like look like something. Yeah. But in this one, you pause any frame and you look in the background, it just looks like someone drew a block and that's a building, you know? Yeah. But yeah, I think it is the medium to a certain extent. I think I lower my expectations for that kind of fidelity for scenes like this, but maybe you know.
Well, I feel like I shouldn't. It's not even just a like fidelity thing. I think it's a depth of the animation. Like I think this movie works really well on a surface level and it hits the beats that I wanted, but it doesn't go deep in any real way, including the animation where it's like I wish that they had like reached a little more and like just trying to push the artistic envelope a little bit, because I think like there's good ideas and there's the emotional beats really do work for me, and that is the most important thing. But like James was saying, there's like not a psychedelic moment where you're like transported into this world. I felt like I never felt like this world was like awe-inspiring.
Right.
I like, yeah, even like that first concert when she's on the whale and the speakers and stuff, it's cool. And then she does this big, like, I don't know. There's just...
No, I get what you're saying. I totally agree. I think I agree that aesthetically, in terms of like the pure kind of visuals and like the artistic style of it, it's not something that blew me away in terms of me like having the pretty lights in front of my eyes and being like, whoa, this is crazy, you know? It's like it was more the emotional kind of like undercurrent in the themes and the characters and stuff that really got me going.
I think it's so.
But it was I will say it was stimulating enough for my taste.
Okay, we've beaten the horse.
To get that.
I would move on.
Let's make glue.
I think it was really badass, or I don't know, interesting. That whole setup of like her mom leaving her to save another kid. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah,
that's a very like a particular kind of trauma.
Yeah,
so that was a great character setup.
What did you guys think about that? Like having the mother die basically to serve a plot point, essentially.
Expand.
Okay, well, clearly I have a thought about it.
Yeah, tell us your thought.
I feel like I've seen, and maybe it'll be hard for me to come up with examples, but I feel like I've seen many examples of this recently where mothers or wives die, and they kind of the whole point of them dying is to serve as a stepping off point for the plot or for the character to develop in a certain way, or to fail to develop. And I feel like I was annoyed by it happening here because I feel like I've seen a lot of examples of it, but I got to say, though, it worked. It worked here very well. I felt her pain, and I think it works even better once she meets the other guy, and like Kay, and his mother died, apparently. They never say that explicitly, but it's very much implied. Yep. And I feel like I was annoyed, and then my annoyance was subdued by the fact that the emotions of it worked so well, and
I think the presentation of it too, like when the scene where you see her disappear is really tastefully handled and it's really powerful.
Yes.
And I love at the end of the scene, like she's gonna go in the water to chase her mom and the hand grabs her, but you don't like really know about who it is. And it happens so fast and it moves on and you don't think about it. But at the end, it's revealed that it's her friend that grabbed her.
Yeah.
That was a really powerful moment for me. Where he was always there for her.
Yeah, that's
Shinobu.
really cool.
Shinobu, good
I have
guy.
some nitpicks about that scene, actually.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, I just thought it was, as a parent, I just thought it was a little unrealistic when the mom's like final words to her are, what does she say? She says something like,
she'll die.
she'll
otherwise.
die if I don't help her. So, and then she leaves. That is just not what a parent would say.
Yeah.
A parent would say, the last words would be, just wait right here, or I'll be right back. Or like, it would be something reassuring to the kid, not like, I got something I gotta do. And then that's just not,
That's fair.
I don't know. That seemed weird to me. And also, there's all these
But they're
adults.
Japanese parents.
Sure. And there's all these people like
Sense of honor,
watching
sense of duty.
There's all these people watching this like event, right? I just feel like someone
Would have done
this
it.
like 4-year-old girl standing by herself, like someone would have been like, "Hey, little girl, like I'll stand beside you," or like,
Yeah.
"That your mom over there." She just wouldn't have been alone. But it doesn't matter. None of this stuff really matters
To me, I
They're
also
nitpicks.
I had some
Well-
questions that happened with that, but I was wondering if it was kind of from her perspective. So it's not necessarily the exact way that it happened, but it's
sure.
like her experience
Yeah,
of it.
that works.
The movie isn't explicit about that, but it's like maybe
Yeah.
that's the explanation.
I mean, yeah. I think I also thought like maybe her mom is that good of a person, or is like kind of like an artist person who's just kind of like going with her feelings. I don't know.
Alternatively,
Very generous.
the real plot
Very
of the
generous
movie
take.
Oh, very generous.
is the mom uses this as an opportunity to run away. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
See you later. Your mom
dad is
comes back
abusive?
at the end.
Oh
No,
my
that
gosh.
abusive dad
There's a
just takes the
dark-
mask off. It was my mom.
Man, there's a real dark alternate take
Well,
on it.
that's kind of a big problem I have with the plot is I feel like it's a little loosey-goosey with everyone involved. Like I feel like everything could have been tightly integrated a little bit more. Like especially my biggest problem is probably the brothers with the abusive father. I think like that storyline is nice, and I think like the little brother and the big brother are like they work well for being the beast and the angel or whatever. But it feels weird that they're like just this separate existence.
Yeah.
And there's a story that's happening over here, and then by the end of the story, we've kind of ran over there.
We just you saying like we just meet them in the last 20 minutes kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, and here's these guys.
Yeah, and it's weird because like, you see them early on, like you see the dad and them in an interview, like they're hinted at, but it doesn't. It feels like they're non-characters until they're necessary for the plot, and it just felt
I agree with
clumsy.
you. I agree with
really?
you. Yeah.
I
fe-
feel. Oh, go ahead.
well, I just feel like overall, like that tightness you're talking about overall is lacking. Like
Yeah.
in the middle section where I was bored when they're just like looking for his house and stuff. I'm just like, why? Why do you care? Why do you care so much? Why? And then other things like, yes, the U was created by the voices. There's 4 creators, and they mentioned these creators like twice, and then never again.
yeah.
They never become a thing. I don't know. There's just
I
it
feel
just
like
it feels like it broke screenplay rules.
I think I agree with you. I feel like anime movies as a genre, I feel like I've gotten a little bit more used to this thing that they seem to do, which is really meander through a bunch of kind of seemingly disconnected scenes and then tie things up a little bit emotionally at the end. Like I feel like I go into anime movies now expecting less of a we're going on a journey and I'm holding your hand the whole time, and more of a sort of like we're seeing a few like vignettes, and there's like kind of weird vignettes, emotional flashbacks and stuff, like impressions of things,
Yeah.
instead of like this happened and then this happened and then this happened. And oh no, we have to go find the thing. All right, let's go. You know.
That's fair.
So
Yeah.
I'm fully prepared to say like I'm not saying that this is a bad movie because there's a certain pattern over my viewership of anime. Maybe it's just like I have internal story beats that are Western that I expect, and I watch another culture's films and I'm like, this is bad, or it doesn't sparkle for me. It doesn't evoke what I expect, and
Right.
therefore I don't like it. Sure, that could happen, and you're not an idiot for liking this movie,
Right.
Unless you're Riley. I hate you, Riley. No, but
Yeah.
and if you like these vignettes so much, why do you like licorice pizza? You hypocrite. And just joking.
Pedophilia.
Okay.
But continue.
Well, there's nothing else to say really. Like I'm just like I said before, I want to like anime. It's not my fault. It's like they're being like a really delicious
my
looking.
fault. Yeah.
It's like there's like, oh, that burger looks so awesome in the ad, and then you taste it, and you're just like, I just can't get over the taste.
I think when I hear you give it like a 4 out of 10, I'm not like, oh, you're so dumb, James. I feel like the only reason that I have been able to enjoy this movie is because anime films in general have kind of been like slowly chipping away at me over the course of however long I've been. I mean, I haven't seen that many, but like, you know, I tried to watch some Studio Ghibli movies when I was in university and stuff, and I feel like I haven't really watched a ton of them. But over the years, it kind of like has chipped away, and now I feel like I understand the vibe a little bit more. So when I go in, I'm not expecting this stuff that you're talking about as much. So I feel like I can enjoy it a bit more and kind of like relax.
I agree. I think that tightness is like a Western value in filmmaking, and there's more of a loosey-goosey pacing that's,
and I'm not
more
even
encouraged.
saying I'm not even saying that what like the way that I'm experiencing it now is like everyone should get there. Like if you have a preference for more of a tight kind of Western style, then that's good. And I feel like I still do to a certain extent, but for some reason, like, you know, the combination of things in this movie just spoke to me.
I hear you. I hear you.
It really must have, because there's so many things that you typically are annoyed by.
Like what?
That you let slide.
Like what?
Well, just like you're always obsessed with
let's
like
get into it.
the rules and the lore and the mechanics of the universe.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the kind of stuff you were mentioning in your slogan, but we don't need to talk about that stuff yet.
No.
You don't
Let's
want
talk
to.
about the good stuff.
Okay.
I want to say, like you said, the first song.
I'm running out. Oh.
you said the first song. You said the first song didn't make you like, you didn't like it?
I thought it was okay. It was like funky. I wasn't convinced. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna love this
Funky?
music, because it's kind of like that drum line sort of thing.
The first song? Wait, which one are you talking about?
It's when she's singing in the concert.
You mean when
not the
she
concert,
arrives
when
in
she
you?
arrives in you. You don't really know that that's Belle. Like, you just see this woman singing on a whale.
Wait, a whale?
Wait, are you talking about like the first seconds of the film?
That's the second song.
What's the first song?
The first song is she first gets into you and she's like, whoa, what's going on? And then she kind of starts singing this really
like
sad.
the opening of the movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
before the like story begins.
Oh, okay.
the
Sorry.
song I was talking about.
Sorry. No, I'm talking about when she.
So that's like a
when
flash forward or something, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing.
Yeah. When she first enters you and she's looking around and she's like bewildered, and then she starts singing this very sad, slow, like melancholy song, Gales of Song or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, hey, what's that? Oh, she looks weird. She's got freckles, blah, blah, blah. That stuff. I was like, oh man, okay, I'm starting to feel things.
Yep.
And then later when she like really gets into it and like the production is there on the music side and her voice is like the performance is
Beautiful.
really good and she's like the lyrics are substantial. They're not just like shit. I'm like, wow, okay, let's go. Like it just
totally.
made me feel things.
Yeah, I like that concert too. Like the one where she's in the dome. I like the animation. I like that music. I was almost mad that the dragon broke in. I was like, let her sing.
That's my least favorite scene.
Really? Oh,
Was
that's
it?
funny.
But she's not. Isn't she not even singing in that scene?
I don't
She's
think she-
about to.
Yeah.
Or
She's like
something.
floating around and the whales are just like
I don't think
floating
she
around
actually
her.
gets to a song. Yeah.
That was definitely
I
one of
hated
those
that. I hated
anime
that so
things where I'm
much.
like, wait, how do we get to here? How did she get a big concert production in like a day?
Oh.
Well, okay.
What? No, it wasn't a day. That was like a flash forward after a while.
Oh, yeah, I actually had a
might
big
have been like
problem
a
with that
week,
as
I don't
well.
know.
I didn't like. I mean, I understand the logic here. Her friend was helping her, but I didn't like that she. And maybe this is my expectations. She showed up there. She sang a song to herself. Somehow it was filmed from a bazillion angles. Maybe that's a feature of the metaverse.
Wait, what do you mean
that's very
filmed?
possible. There's like footage of her performing that song,
From everyone's perspective.
right?
Well,
Like,
because everybody has
she-
like screen captures of their own
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, exactly. That totally makes sense mechanically, but it just
Great.
didn't make sense that she like I logged in once, I log out within 24 hours. I'm the hottest star in the whole
Well,
freaking
she's
world.
viral. She went viral. That happens. Like someone will post a video and then like it's like a nobody. It's just like an anonymous account and then it takes off. Like this has happened.
Yeah, you don't organize a big, huge concert.
Wasn't
a
it?
week later.
Didn't it turn out that her friend?
What are you
was-
talking about?
Her
big
friend
person.
was doing all that.
It's
like
the metaverse. Yeah, Hero, I guess. This is one part that I was confused about because like, okay, she's a good singer, and I guess it's implied that she writes music and like can play piano or whatever. But I was like, who's making the backing track?
the guy in the chair.
Hero, you mean?
Is that her friend?
Yeah.
Hero?
Girl in the chair, but yeah.
Did she make the dome too?
Yeah, but the guy in the chair
What
is
do you mean
like a thing.
the dome was like a existing
so they got to rent
venue.
it out. They made enough money on the.
Well, they made tons of money.
It's the metaverse. Everything's owned by a corporation. There's
Yeah,
nothing
they
that's fucking free.
They said that they're making tons of money, but they're donating most of it to charities.
Okay.
You guys missed that bit?
Dome is a value venue.
I think I'm just
The
kind of
dome
with
is
you.
the dome is like the metaverse stadium. Like it's a thing that people use in that universe.
Yeah,
Like they said that.
It's an asset. It's fine. I don't know.
Jeez,
I guess I thought that the movie would devote time to her like rise to become Belle, rather than it just being like, she's Belle, like, and she's a superstar. Just accept that.
They did a montage. They did a montage, and she's spinning around and going through like a million different costumes, and each of those costumes,
fun.
I'm like, oh, it's implying that time is passing, and she's going through,
I guess I just don't believe that
concerts.
someone would actually become more than a 15-second of fame kind of person with one song. It's like I don't think she would reach that level.
It's a movie.
I just think she needed to earn it a little bit more.
I thought she would, and the reason, I guess,
well, she had the pain.
It had implications later on,
but
because
no one else has the pain.
later on,
Not Peggy Sue.
excuse me.
We're having a side conversation.
Yeah, it's getting really annoying. Later on, when Justin is threatening to unveil her, I felt no stakes at all. I felt not threatened at all. I was like, who cares? She didn't even work for this status. She showed up and became famous in a day. Who cares?
Wait, what?
And we didn't even learn until later that if you get unveiled, you fade away, and I guess lose
I
your
didn't know
account.
that. Yeah, I didn't know that.
We learned that later. So
Wait,
there's
what are you
like
talking about?
there's just zero stakes when Justin is like pointing his little gun, which for some reason he has the power to unveil people. Don't know why he gets that power.
He's sponsored. It's like these influencers who get to talk to the companies like us, and then they get them
But he has like
special powers.
special powers though. It's like,
like
yeah,
Banhammer?
they gave I don't know. I guess he's like sort
a
of
mod.
does he like work for?
he's a powerful enough influencer in you that he can I don't know.
That'd be
It's an
like
anime, man.
Yo, we're the biggest influencers on YouTube, so YouTube gives us ability to delete other people's videos. It's like okay.
The more that you're saying about this, the more I realize, because I already knew that I was doing this, but the more I realize how much I suspended my like lore head
Exactly what I'm saying.
side of my brain for this. But like, I have learned to do that because it's very frustrating when you watch any anime basically and try to keep track of like the real nitty gritty.
So you yourself are traumatized. You
Yeah,
have
maybe.
bruises.
Yeah.
You have bruises.
I think though why it didn't bother me too much is that the movie really isn't interested in the metaverse. Like that it is just a setting for this Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Yeah, and I feel like a rug pull because I was sold on this movie by Riley, who's like, check with this Verge article. It's a metaverse movie. I was like, sweet.
yeah.
It's going to be a trans allegory or something. But no,
What? Well, I guess there could be. I mean, I don't know.
they don't
I
even
think-
choose what they look like.
I feel like anime isn't super progressive in that way yet.
Why does Beast get to fly so fast, but she can't fly?
Because he has internal rage. I don't know.
Why are bruises that color?
They didn't look like bruises to
I
me.
did. I was like, wait, those are bruises.
This is so funny. I feel like I'm normally not where I am right now when we're
Yeah.
talking about anime.
Yeah.
I'm
Why-
usually the
so
hater.
when you're in,
didn't
are you
love-
also
What was
out-
the movie we did that you hated? That you loved that I hated?
Your Name? No.
No, the
anime or not?
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away. I love Spirited Away.
Yeah, I hated it. Oh, you
yeah.
hated it too.
I was the.
I don't hate it. I
was with James on this. It was James and me versus you. and
Character
now
growth.
David has absorbed me into himself. I am but an aspect
So
of him.
can you be in you and out of it at the same time? Like she's running on the beach and like
I am
puts her,
right now.
Oh yeah. They move like semi both in real time because like you see them like they're connected to their bodies. Like,
There's
they don't
just
go in
no
a sleep.
explanation of rules, and I guess the movie doesn't care about that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
but I just want an info dump.
Well, there
I
was,
feel like I would expect more of an exploration of that kind of stuff, like the technical reality of it in a Western movie.
Yeah,
And if a Western movie did what this movie did, I would be very frustrated.
when I watch anime, I just turn off that part of my brain
Yeah.
that cares about that stuff, and you're like, what they're gonna tell me is the stuff that matters, and like there is just so many gaps. You just don't worry about it. Like,
Yeah.
there might be an explanation, there might not be. You go.
I think expectations were a big part of my enjoyment of this film because I thought we got Beauty and the Beast and we got VR, and that is going to be interesting because the whole thing with Beauty and the Beast is the Beast is misunderstood.
right?
He looks a certain way. He didn't choose that, and then he's misunderstood.
I mean,
In VR, maybe you do choose that.
Yeah.
And Beauty and the Beast, like she has this provincial life, and then she wants to escape to something greater. VR, you escape. There's all these like perfect. It's a great combination of things to put
okay.
together, and then we arrive in the theater and we find out those two things actually have nothing to do with this movie.
I think, so I definitely think part of the problem is that you were expecting more of a Beauty and the Beast adaptation than you got.
Well, actually, at first I was expecting just anime VR movie, and that was cool. Then I found out like just days before seeing this movie that it was Beauty and the Beast, and I actually went,
Oh, really?
no, ew. But I thought, okay, maybe. And then it got to the movie theater and it was like, nah.
Because I feel like
it's nothing. it's
just sort of like a superficial affiliation with the Beauty and the Beast story as a way to kind of like maneuver into a different story. You know?
It's not very Beauty and the Beasty, really.
Well, I liked that.
She's not a prisoner in his castle who eventually grows to love him. She seeks him out because she like already loves him for no reason.
Well, not for no reason.
Well,
I think she
this
like
is so
sees
cool.
someone who is maybe hiding some sort of trauma just like she is.
Like,
and so she wants to...
Like maybe. It's like,
what do you mean? That's exactly what she's doing.
yeah, but like why? It's like, here's the...
What do you mean, why?
Whoa, look at this guy fighting everyone. That's crazy. I'm going to follow him.
She's not like that. She's like anxiety ridden inside, and she's only able to sort of act with confidence in the metaverse because she's Belle and not Suzu.
See how his hair is over his eye? I must find him.
I did not like the design of the dragon.
Oh, really?
I don't know. Something about it seemed really like a teenager drawing, like designing a dragon, like an emo dragon.
He
I thought he was
is an
okay.
emo teenager being abused.
I'm trying to get a rise out of you now. Like I thought the design was okay.
I don't know. I didn't like it. Something about it just like pushed me off.
I didn't
What's
love
the
it, but
deal
it's
with
fine.
her desire to unveil him? She wants to find out, who are you? Why? Why can't she just hang out with him in the metaverse?
Because she wants to help him, and she thinks that he is like he's hurt. She saw the picture of his mother that was like, oh, she. It seems like she like knows that something happened to his mom, and so she's like, "You're hurt. I want to help you. Like, let me know who you are. Let me like talk to me." And he's like, "No," you know. So it's like she wants to.
What do you
keep
think
going.
her ultimate desire as a character is?
I think that she, in the beginning, she doesn't really know what her ultimate desire is. I think that she's struggling. That's her whole thing. Like, what do I do? She's traumatized. She doesn't know why her mom left her.
But we know as the audience that she's trying to become whole. We know that she's not the same because of the trauma of her mother dying.
Yeah.
And she gets to become whole when in the metaverse.
Yeah, because I think near the end, she realizes that, you know, because Shinobu encourages her to sing as herself in the metaverse. And so then she realizes, like, putting on this like facade of being all cool and all good all the time, you know, isn't it's better to be authentic. So then she like takes the risk of showing everybody that she is just kind of this frumpy school, countryside schoolgirl or whatever. And then everyone's like, oh, look, she's being authentic. And that shows Kay that he can be authentic and like he doesn't have to hide behind this like dragon persona or whatever, you know? Like, I feel like that's the...
But what if he just wants to be a dragon because it's cool?
That's fine, I guess, but it's not fine if you're using it as a way to like, you know, carry on this like suppressed trauma.
What do you guys think? Because kind of on that topic, it weirded me out that after she's unveiled and she has that, I think it's a great scene when she's Suzu in the metaverse and she sings a song and like by the power of her spirit, she's able to stay in there, even though once you're unveiled, you're supposed to leave.
I don't remember anything about that. About like once you're unveiled, you have to leave.
So you fade away. I think
it's only once he's unveiled her, he's like, "Why is she here? She's supposed to fade away. She's been unveiled." He only says it then. It's not set up as a stakes. Before.
You know what I think happens? Oh, well, okay.
But
I don't think that's an official thing. I think that's just like people fade away from shame or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
But my question is, why does she go back to being Belle? And that actually was a big problem I had.
Strange.
Where so she's Suzu and she's singing, and then there's like the shot of the whale coming out, and when she's back on top, she's back to her like hidden persona.
Yeah.
And I think that's a weird thematic choice. Like,
yeah, you would expect at least it would be an amalgam.
Yeah.
Like it looks like her, but with an extravagant dress on.
That's exactly what I was thinking it was gonna be, and it's weird that it's not. Like, it's like, does she need to go back to hiding herself? Like, what do you think it means thematically?
I think that the movie, maybe this would be like the case in a Western movie. The really important thing is that you live as your authentic self, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that in an Eastern movie, I feel like there's, you know, especially in anime, they're big on aesthetics. They're big on like having these crazy costumes and these crazy things all over the top. People have giant hammers and they shouldn't be able to carry, and like there's magical powers for no reason, and people are wearing completely impractical outfits
and shoes that just
slam. They're just so good.
Your feet aren't that big.
So I feel like she becomes Belle again at the end because it's fun, and it's you still are in you at the end of the day, and you can wear this like cool fun outfit with the flowers going everywhere, and it can be a spectacle. It's like, you know, the fact that you are now comfortable with being either yourself or Belle is good.
That should
But
probably
it's like
be
if you want to be Belle for the fun concert with the whales going crazy, sure, go for
It
it.
should probably be stated though.
Maybe.
Yes, but I think that's again a thing about anime that I don't think is great. I would appreciate like it stating stuff like that as well. I gave it an 8.25. It's not like the best.
You're being
movie I've
very
ever seen.
charitable. Everything that could.
It's anime.
Well, this is your answer to anything that could be a demerit to it. You're saying it's actually just because it's anime.
Well, I'm not saying that it's not a demerit, because in the past I feel like I would cite the things you're citing as being a valid reason why I didn't like the movie, and that's fine. But I think that now, having been exposed to this much anime, I'm like,
You're starting to see the patterns.
I recognize the patterns, and
Okay.
I'm like, okay, this isn't something that I'm going to say this is a bad movie for doing this. I'm going to say
That's how they do
this
it.
is the genre.
Okay, I
Yeah.
haven't seen enough to know that, so I'll
What
take it.
What happens to Justin? That was a big question I had. Justin just kind of
He
is like-
loses his sponsors.
Yeah, he loses sponsors, then he goes away in shame. Like they don't really answer that, and I that leads to a bigger point. Problem I have with this is like Justin's not really a fucking rounded character. Like we don't see his avatar. We don't like. That'd be fun if you see like the person that he is. It's just some like big neck beard. Like that's like maybe the most basic thing. But you see the real world version
be a
of
good-
Justin.
That would be a good
What if
cutaway.
it was the boy's dad?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
I feel like I understand the type of person that Justin is. He's like a self-righteous person who thinks that, he's doing a good thing, but really he just likes the power of being able to hold other people
Border guard.
accountable.
A border guard, basically.
Sure, yeah. I think that's just I don't know. I wasn't really interested in who Justin is,
But I think that's the problem. I wish they had done more to make me interested.
Right.
Because I agree. It's like, yeah, he serves his purpose.
Yeah.
And when you look at like a kid's movie, like Gaston isn't a fully rounded character. He's like a alpha male who wants to have sex with Belle. That's all
Right.
he is. And like, that's fine. But I guess I was craving just a little more dimension to him.
No offense to all the border guards who listen. The border guards who listen to this podcast are exceptional. They're exceptions. They're cool.
They would
Yeah.
let us bring cocaine into this country.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like it
They
didn't bother
probably
me
do it with
because
us.
Justin was like, he's not the villain. He's a villain in the movie, Like
The dad, I
the
guess.
antagonist is less of a person and more of like, anxiety itself. And
Sure.
so I don't know. It didn't really bother me that
Why
much.
does the Beast Castle? Why does the Beast, whatever his name is, Dragon? What is his name? I don't know. Why does he
K.
get? Why does he get to have a castle that is unfindable in like a magic, like another dimension? What's up with that?
Sorrow.
Why?
It unlocked the
This is another-
sad
Dude,
dimension.
there's all these questions that are just.
Well, this is yeah.
It
This
doesn't
is,
matter, I
it's just
guess.
I don't know. It's
anime,
like I feel like, yeah, it's anime. It's a metaverse, but it's also like the metaverse is advanced enough that they just have things they put in their ears and they're
doesn't make sense
magically in
either.
there. It's like a Black Mirror thing where
Yeah.
at some point you just stop asking questions about the logistics of it, and you're just like, this is what it is.
It must be so fun to write, to be a writer in this world where you're like, this exists. I don't need to do any work to justify it. Moving on. That would be. I've spent so
that's
much
anime.
time.
That's anime. That's why I don't like the vast majority of animes. I won't go and watch an anime if someone recommends it to me because I'm like, it's probably really
To me,
annoying
I feel
in this
like
way.
that's a really modern Western thing where like we're so obsessed with the details and like so obsessed with like the lore and the justification. Whereas like you go back to movies and fantasy and sci-fi like 40 years ago and like we played fast and loose and like all that mattered was the impression it gave you. And it's really like I feel like since like the dawn of
Star Wars.
well, no, even
I
later than that,
blame Star Wars for this.
like internet comments and forums and all these things where people were like got obsessed with like being the one that pointed out flaws and like in world building and all these things. And I crave a time where worlds could be weird and cool. And not that this world is necessarily cool and weird, but I miss that time where you got to be totally creative because you didn't have to fucking justify every little detail. Like you just got to be like, you got to give an artistic impression of a world and that was enough.
See, I think it's a function of having cinematic or multi-franchise, multi-medium universes that are have to interact and be internally consistent.
When there's a movie and a novel and a video game?
Yes.
Yeah, so Star Wars,
Or
you're right.
or yeah,
You're
like
right,
a
it is
ton of
Star Wars.
movies. It's like when you make a ton of movies and then in this movie these ships can do this, but in the next movie they can't. It's like, okay, well, that's going to rub some people the wrong
Yeah.
way, obviously.
So it is
And-
Star Wars fault.
And Star
I'm one
Trek,
of those,
I think
and I'm one of
both.
those people because I'm like, listen, if you want to establish this universe and tell me this story, then like you take me into the universe and I notice a bunch of things are breaking. It's like that's your fault. That's not my fault that you like weren't paying attention and you don't care. It's like, okay, yeah, in a perfect universe, everyone would just enjoy the movie and not think about all this stuff in the background. But at the same time, there are people who really enjoy filling out Wikipedias and writing appendices, and it's like, you know, there's a market for that, and I feel like with sci-fi and fantasy, that needs to be addressed.
To me, it's hard though, because like you're right. It's like there's a billion people that love that level of detail and filling out the fan wikis and shit. But to me, it's the burden of modern fantasy and storytelling that's the reason why we're not really getting good new fantasy. It's because like you have to be so concerned with like your encyclopedia that like why would you write a fucking story? You're making a fucking like,
you know what? I think I'm going to come in the middle
so.
here. I'm going to come in the middle here and disagree kind of with both of you, because I don't think you have to be writing like an encyclopedia to enjoy or appreciate or demand this aspect of filmmaking. And I don't think that it necessarily means that you're not being creative, because I think what I like is when I go, imagine the world was like that, like whether it's Children of Men, Handmaid's Tale, Star Wars, a Black Mirror concept. We were like, oh man, or Inception. If you had that, then you could do this, and then you could do this, because I understand the rules of the universe.
Right.
I can ideate and put myself there.
Yeah.
But in this, I have no idea what the rules of the universe are, so I don't even get to. It's an element of the fantasy that I don't get to play in.
I feel like a movie like this, where they don't really care that much about like creating a coherent playground for people to like have these parts that they can combine and like think about different situations in. Like they don't care as much about that. They're just like, we're telling a story and it's in the metaverse and people can fly and that's fun, you know? I feel like that's fun to have for the first movie. If they made a sequel, which I don't think they will, and I'd hope they don't, or whatever, then I would expect that kind of consistency. But you can make like a first pilot of something, you know? Like you come up with a new franchise, like I don't think anything's stopping people from making a compelling new creative franchise or whatever, because no one cares about that stuff in the first go. It's when you make a number 2 and number 3, and there's a novel tie-in, and there's a game and the board game and blah blah. Like then you have to start thinking about, okay, wait, we're making all of these entries into this fictional universe. Now we need to start thinking about how this universe actually works.
Unless you don't, like in the Mad Max episode we talked about. It doesn't matter if this actor plays a different character.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if his car blew up already.
That's why I think Mad Max is generally just kind of like a dumb action movie, and there's not really a ton of depth there in terms of lore. I mean, we talked about this. I feel like we mostly agreed on this, is that like within the universe, we don't need to actually ask the question of how they're wasting this much gas driving all over the place when apparently it's like this hard to find resource and water and food, and it's like, it's just fun. It's just turn your brain off and have fun.
I feel like, so I crave stories and universes and franchises, I know. But I feel like those stories can't deliver something satisfying because people are just obsessed about not story. They're obsessed about fact checking and all these things. And like, I don't give a fuck.
Well, it takes you out of it.
About fact checking.
It takes you out of it. You're on this. What do you mean why? Because you see something and it doesn't make sense to you. You see something and you're like, oh wow, is he gonna get a good thing? Oh, is he gonna find it? It's like, oh wait, what? How did they? What? It takes you out of it. It's not your fault that you're like thinking about that stuff. It's like that to me is a responsibility of the filmmaker to draw a balance. Like you have to give enough details about the environment so that people aren't thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
And they're paying attention to the characters and the story and this stuff.
I'm saying it's a balance, and we're way too far on the wrong side. On one side of the pendulum, we're way too obsessed with lore, and we need to like find the balance where it's like, we're worried about like the balance.
I'll sort of agree with you that I think there are people on extremes on both sides of it. There are people who think that we shouldn't care about lore at all, and there are people who are like way too obsessed with lore to the detriment of actually enjoying anything. Fair enough, you know? But it's a balance. You got to walk the balance.
So for you in this movie, let's say it's a spectrum of audience member and it's a spectrum of writer, and on the one hand you've got creative freedom, and the other hand you've got like continuity. Where do you think they landed in this movie relative to where you want it to be? Because I've already said that in this movie, they didn't pay enough attention to rules for me, and that's immersion breaking for me. Where are you?
I think I agree with you a little bit. Like, I think because they sold it as a metaverse story, I wish that the metaverse mattered. And it's clearly just set dressing for the story they want to tell. Like, they just don't delve into what it really means. Like, there's not really a thematic about the metaverse. It's about these characters and the trauma, and the metaverse is a way to express that. And so I wish that there was rules of the metaverse that were set up to to pull out that idea a little bit more, and like that the metaverse was actually interesting. Like, we live in a world where like the metaverse is fucking real, or it's going to be real within 5 years, and like I don't want the metaverse. So to have the basic level 1 vanilla metaverse, who fucking cares?
I think we were both kind of hoping for like a Black Mirror Metaverse anime movie.
Something more to it, like a take on it.
That was gonna make you be like, oh, that's scary. We shouldn't get that. For
this
sure.
This society in the movie isn't really like fundamentally changed by the existence of you, the
weird,
the metaverse. They're just kind of like it's like it's a game everyone's playing.
PlayStation Home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're still spending a lot of time not in it, which is totally unrealistic.
I find it,
those kids would just never unplug. They wouldn't even go to school, man.
I find it interesting that you guys were frustrated by the movie's lack of like delving into the real nitty-gritty of like what the metaverse means for society and stuff, because I feel like, I don't know, to me the real value of this movie is the emotional core, and the metaverse thing is like, I'm gonna watch a documentary about the metaverse or something. Like I wouldn't expect this like anime about high schoolers to really like say something deep about our future and on the internet.
To me,
why? Ghost in the Shell can do that.
Yeah.
Well, Ghost in the Shell is like a cyberpunk, like neo noir.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but this is a high school drama.
Well, I didn't know that. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, to me, it just feels like they didn't think super deep and hard about the movie. I think you're right. It is about those emotional beats, and to me, those emotional beats really do land. Like I teared up. I felt when they're in the alleyway and they find each other, even though I'm like, how did they find each other?
Wait, which alleyway?
Oh yeah, that was insane.
At the end when Suzu finds Kay and the little brother and stuff, and they're like hugging in the rain when they're like they've run away from the dad.
Yeah,
and like they explain it, like they triangulated and they heard the.
No, that's lucky that they ran out of the door
at the right time. Anyway, but like my brain was like, this is fucking, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah.
And then I felt, and then they hug and it's very sweet, and you get the flash of like what it was like when she went for the kiss and they landed on the hug in the metaverse. I thought that was a really sweet moment.
It was great.
And then the dad comes and like grabs her face and cuts her, and she turns around and just stares at him.
Yeah.
And like all of that really lands for me. All that,
Totally.
like as soon as I'm just like, I let the logic of it fly by, let the worries fly by. All of that is so good. But then, yeah, it's hard to give this movie above an 8 for me because it's just like, I have to turn
When
off
she
that part of
stares
my
him
brain.
down and stands up to him, did you see that as like now she's completed her arc?
Yeah,
Like,
I think she's self-assured.
Was she like meek and a pushover the whole
She became
show?
her mother in that moment, sort of, in the sense that she's like sacrificing herself, and she might get hit, she might be killed by
For a
this
strange
guy,
kid.
but she's going to stand up for these people who need help.
I
Her
like
mother's
that.
a freaking superhero.
True.
And she ran away.
But she's dead.
She's still out there somewhere.
Just watching the metaverse. She is that baby lady.
Man, that like, I gotta say, like, so like that moment where they hug at the end, that like triggered a bout of crying for me. Before that, when she's on the train going to get them, and she's texting with her dad, and her dad acknowledged that she grew up to be caring because of her mother and stuff, and it's like that relationship with her dad is like really in the background the whole movie. Like it really does not pay much attention to it, but you know that it's there, and you know that she's kind of distant from her dad. So then when they have that connection, and it's like, yeah, I have to work a lot, and you're at school, and we don't see each other, but I recognize this in you, and I'm going to validate who you really are and who you've grown up to be because your mother like fostered these values in you. It's like, oh man, great moment. And it's a great way to like pay off on that like really little background thing. And then before that, I burst out crying when there's the unveiling concert where she sings as herself.
That was
and I am
beautiful.
expecting the Beast to like show up, you know? I almost was like a little disappointed that she went through all this trouble, and then I expected like the Beast to come like flying in.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. So then I was kind of like, I was crying before that because I almost like expected it to happen, and then it didn't happen. And then
I
Kay
was crying because I was wrong.
and then like Kay calls them afterwards. Okay, that's how they did it.
Yeah.
But like, man, those 3 story beats just like hit me, and I feel like it really just. Before that point, I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
But the fact that each of those was so emotionally powerful.
Yeah.
And it was all in like the last third of the movie. I was like,
The last third
let's go.
picked it up because
Yeah.
I was like, let me out of here. And then I got to the point where I was like, hey, at least I'm paying attention again.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Like it's compelling enough to watch.
Yeah. I feel like kind of circling around to like tightly integrated stuff, and like maybe that's just like a Western value. I wish that the dad was a little more tightly integrated. Like at one point I was like, I wonder if he's the Beast, and like the bruises are emotional wounds that he's carrying because of.
You got
of
a
the
raw
loss of his wife.
deal from this kid. Hey, jeez.
Yeah.
She's like, won't even talk to him and stuff. It's like, man, she died like when you were what, 3 or 4, and now you're like 15. Like,
Yeah.
Can you have dinner with your dad at some point? I actually don't really agree with that portrayal. I don't know how realistic that is.
So-
how first of all, how old do you think she was when her mom died?
I thought it was like 6 or 7.
6, 7?
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe 5,
Yeah.
6.
Makes sense.
I just don't know that, because he says the line, "You've been so different since your mom died," and it's like that makes sense if I'm like 15 and she died when I was 12, or like she died 2 years ago. But it's like she died. Most of my life has been without my mom. I should be who I am now.
I feel like she could have been like 9 or 10, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. She looked like a baby.
But
man.
I also feel like this is sort of I feel like this is something I've noticed about anime movies that take place in Japan, that like the fathers are rarely in the picture. 'Cause I think that there is a culture of like, you know, they work longer than 10-hour days, and he's just not around that often. So it's like the only time they see each other or interact is when he gets home from work and she happens to be outside or something, you know? And like, I feel like
and
he's in the
breakfast time. He tries, man.
Yeah,
He's trying,
I'm not
yeah.
saying that he's a piece of shit. I'm just saying that like that seems to be the culture, that like the kids, the dads just aren't really in the kid's life that much.
That's fair.
I don't know. I feel like I have to qualify what I said a minute ago. I don't want people to like attack me. So I have had a parent die. I was 10, and I feel like already that's old enough, or like, what am I trying to say here? Like, I feel like when you're young enough, the rest of your life.
You're not a person at 10.
She was even younger than that, so I feel like that's like your normal. You know what I mean? That is your new normal.
Right.
So if you're older and then someone dies, you're like, oh no, I'm not myself anymore. Now I'm shook. Like, no, she's so young that she's defining what herself means.
Right.
So like, what is she different from herself as a toddler?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
it's just I don't know, incongruous with my own experience.
No, I think what you're saying makes sense to me. I feel like I think that again plays into sort of the dad being distant, and just like his idea of her is more informed by what he knew about her when she was young, and maybe he was seeing her a bit more. And now that she's going to school and going off to high school by herself or whatever, you know, maybe he's like his image of her is more informed by when she was younger than what she is now. But he still, I guess, knows enough to know that she's like, you know, a caring person and whatnot.
Yeah.
Ugh. I just cried.
Big nitpick I have. The amount of fade to blacks. Holy fuck.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh yeah.
There's at least 5.
That's too many.
That's so many.
You get like 2 tops.
You get, yeah. If you're Lord of the Rings, maybe 4 because you're at the end of a trilogy. But like,
Really,
buddy.
1 is the sweet spot.
Yeah, I was like,
for Fade
it's the
to
movie
Black.
ending, and it just kept happening. I was mad.
Mad that it kept going. Hey,
A little bit.
I really like. Okay, so you guys were saying that like the metaverse wasn't really addressed in this movie, but I think that they did a decent job of presenting the sort of the cynicism of influencer culture, or like, you know, internet culture, where everyone's anonymous and they just like leave a billion comments on stuff, and some of them are like the most hateful things you could ever see in your life, and the other, like, some of them are like, oh, that's nice, you know.
they had that. They had that.
And I liked the balance of, or the contrast of having that side where it's like these masses of horrible people just like judging every tiny thing you do, and then at the end kind of those same people opening up and sharing their pain all at the same time. And she's
beautiful.
like, I'm revealing who I am. I have this pain. I have this trauma. And everyone's like, yeah, we all have that pain too. And then that's the lights all coming up from their avatars and stuff. And I was just like, oh, that's beautiful. I feel like that's I thought that the balance between cynicism and optimism really struck
I guess
a good chord.
that's
for me.
like the purpose of Peggy Sue, because that was my question. Was like, why does Peggy Sue exist?
That's
it's
that
to
other
put
star.
Yeah, it's to put a face to that idea of like the hater becoming disarmed by the honesty.
Right. She's like, she's just a normal girl.
Yeah.
Just like me.
Yeah.
I want to hear the dub now.
I mean, I probably will rewatch this movie at some point. Probably at home. I'm not going to go to theater again, but
That's all I really had to talk about for. This is sort of like a nitpick, I guess. I feel like the movie really minimizes the work it would take to make these virtual concerts. Like,
Yeah.
I get that Hero's a genius, but like, okay, wait. So she's producing the music and doing promotion and marketing and creating all of these super crazy virtual concerts, like the ones like we've seen. The Fortnite has done a few of these. Roblox did one that wasn't so good. But like, it takes a lot. Like, there's a lot of coding. There's a lot of
And going to school.
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. Just
And,
2
like,
hours a night.
I could maybe believe that like doing stuff like that in you is like maybe a little bit easier because like you're just like locked, like hooked in with your ears. But
There's no sense in thinking about if you never think about any of the other stuff. There's no sense in thinking about this.
That was one of the lore aspects that I was like, how are they?
Here's a hit pick. I guess I'm pretty sure it's been like a week since I saw this, but when she hugged the boys at the end, it was strictly platonic. Like she's going for the Beast this whole time, and unlike Beauty and the Beast, it's not a love story.
Right.
She doesn't end up with with those kids. They have this connection. It's a powerful emotional connection.
Yeah.
But it's not a sexual connection, and it's healing, and it doesn't have to be sexualized.
Big hit pick. I really like that.
That's dope.
Big time. Yeah, I loved that, and especially the fact that that's platonic, but then also she has a love interest in the movie, Shinobu. But then they're like, we don't need to like, consummate this or whatever. We don't need to have them kiss or whatever. It's like it's fine. There is that tension, and then they kind of like cooperate in the end, and they have this understanding that they're there for each other, and that's fine. We don't need to have like
maybe they don't because it's like a conservative Japanese film.
I feel like you have. I don't know.
Japanese culture is more conservative than Western, right?
In some ways.
They're young. Like these are school kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. In some. I don't think they have problems with sexualizing school kids in other anime things.
I think,
but yeah.
I really like that final scene where they're just walking by the river. They're walking by the river and they look at the clouds and they're talking. And I love it when Shinobu is just like, finally, I don't have to take care of you anymore. I thought that was a sweet.
His character was sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked that. Like,
and she's like, no one cares about me. I'm just this frumpy, like schoolgirl. Like I'm not cool like Ruka or whatever. And he's like, hey, he's the most popular kid in the school. He's like, why don't you talk to me?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, running away. There's definitely like a vibe. Like I feel like that would annoy me before. That whole vibe. I'm just like, he likes you. What's wrong with you? Like, and he's your childhood friend. He's looking out for you. What's like? Why don't you just talk to him? And I would be so frustrated. But now I'm just like, oh, that's just how I don't know. Japanese girls are
women,
portrayed.
man.
And I don't know whether maybe this is a problem. Maybe this is a problem with this genre, But I at the very least I understand that this is the norm, and I'm not Japanese, so I can't talk about like whether we need to like push for change in that way. Like it needs to be more egalitarian.
You're out of your depth.
But yeah, exactly.
You're out of your element.
I just think I was like, it's an anime. That's what it is. It's funny. I don't know.
I think that's it.
Oh, were you guys confused at all by the when she gets all the texts on her phone? Like she's like thinking up the love song and she's like strolling by the water, and then she looks at her phone to record the song and she's getting like a million texts, and it's about like Ruka liking Shinobu or like there's some sort of like high school girl drama, but she's getting like hundreds of texts.
It's like
and
a
I was
group
like,
chat of their whole school.
Is this linked to Belle at all? But I don't think it was. It was just high school stuff.
I think again that's to like her experience of it. It's like she actually got 6 texts, but to her it's like a million texts.
But visually though, they use that same like kind of word cloud thing for elements of you later on, right? Where it's like it's the comments from the you community. Yeah. So I could see
that was the most confused I was in the whole movie, especially because they switched to this like board game analogy where like the flirty girls are warring with the pent up girls about
that was
like
so weird.
They're upset that Shinobu might be into Ruka, blah blah blah, and then it's like it's like an RPG thing, and then they flip to the bottom of the board because Hero's gonna figure out how to like dissolve the tension and all this stuff. I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I want this analogy to end because I don't understand.
I don't play those games, so I don't quite follow.
It was like it was just like a tactical strategy game. I get it's like you don't know the exact rules, but whatever. Broad strokes.
It worked.
It worked
Okay.
I would be I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out the singing group that she's part of.
I was gonna
like
talk about them
quite a bit.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice to have that warmth when they come and they're like, we know who she is, and they're like, we got to go rescue her. I don't know. It just was silly, but it warmed my heart.
Filled out like the maternal kind of presence.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
Mature ladies' presence.
Yeah, they were great. I love those ladies.
Shout out.
Also, I thought it sounded like they were singing like an Alleluia song.
Probably, yeah.
But it wasn't. It's like
I
looked it up and because I listened to the soundtrack and it's like it's in Latin or something. It's like something come luya. Anyways,
I just assumed it was like an Ave Maria.
I didn't know like whether they were they at the gym, the school gym or something.
I thought it was like a community center or something. Or it was an abandoned school, wasn't it?
No, it was a school during the summer, wasn't it? Didn't they say something like they used it?
Who knows? We're just one level deeper of the metaverse. This is not.
That's a whole like detail aspect that I completely missed out on. So
and it doesn't really matter in this movie.
It doesn't really.
Tune in next week. We'll be doing Aliens. Are you done? Were you done there?
I'm done.
All right, Aliens with Sarah.
I'm so freaking done.
You can tweet at us at TJMPod. You can email us hello at they'rejustmovies.com.
Hello.
Hello. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Love you.